things which are sold to these different countries. And you will see the world percentage share on the extreme right. Like US is almost 13% of the global purchases. And then Germany is 7.6, France is 3.8. Surprisingly, China doesn't appear here. They don't buy, they make themselves. So they are not the largest importers, but then what is missing is an opportunity for India too. Well, now who are the suppliers to these top countries, the top buyers? You see, China, Mexico, Japan, Germany, Canada are in US. And Mexico and Canada are there because they have zero duty. China has MFN, most favored nation status, with many countries. And this government, I'm sure, because the previous government lost those opportunities. So this government, with its majority and with its say in the world market, has a good opportunity to get India converted into an MFN into different countries, and that will give a boost to the exports. Germany has Italy, China, Czech Republic, Poland, Switzerland as the main suppliers. And you see, like, China is 27% of the US requirements. I mean, the volumes speak for themselves. Similarly, we have for France, Canada, UK, Japan. Canada, again, US, of course, is one of the major suppliers, followed by China. In UK, Germany and China. Japan, China, and US. You see the interlinking bond that goes into the whole thing. There are many American companies who import castings, like from India and China, process it, and then sell it to different countries. The Russian Federation has Germany and China. Italy has Germany, China. Germany, France, in Belgium. China, US, in Australia. But you can see also India's supply and the percentages which are given. India is just 1 to 3%, 1 to 3% in any country. I mean, if you go back and you see in US, India is only 3% of the share of what US buys. So just to show you the kind of scope, the demand possible. Now, speaking about the top 10 importers, you know, these are the 10 niche markets. And you can see the country's share in the world's import. China has 7%, Mexico 3%. I mean, even these countries are getting into imports. And India can move into these countries as well. Again, just to give you an idea, India's share 1% in China, in Mexico, in Korea. So even in these other countries, which are big markets, which are emerging markets, India is still 1% to 2%. I mean, we have a lot of scope. Well, we have given several recommendations to the government. I mean, it's not hunky-dory. I mean, again, everyone has issues, everyone has problems. One of the challenges faced by Indian foundry is to technically upgrade yourself. People like Manish Kothari sitting here are wanting to upgrade foundries, and especially in Howrah, you know, I mean, when we come to West or North or South India, you know, foundries have taken a leap, they have moved forward. But even within India, we have, you know, areas where we are still quite backward. But then, even foundries which are here can, of course, upgrade themselves further. Now, in textiles, the government, since last 5 years, has a scheme of technology upgradation. They give funds to groups, clusters, and individual foundries to upgrade your technology. You know, but that unfortunately is missing in the foundry industry, and we are moving this. I mean, the previous government had deaf ears. I am sure this government would be dynamic and would try to help foundry in this. The casting industry needs clear laws and environmental safeguard standards. I mean, because always being categorized under red and the files don't move is a difficult situation. But things are moving very fast, and we will be brought into a better category than red, so that the files move faster and the funds which are required for the setting up or expanding the foundry is easier. There's an urgent need to interact with the government to sort out environmental issues, I've already said. Successful implementation of the recommendations of the Gujarat Committee will boost exports and create employment opportunities. There are various other schemes that have been given to the government in terms of training of labor, training of supervisors. I mean, so there is a government and foundry cluster partnership for skill development. So these things are also being worked out. Enhancement of market access initiative. One of the best things, I mean, a lot of people come to me and saying is, how do we get into exports? The best and easiest way to get into exports is visit exhibitions, international exhibitions. Because you get an idea of the range and type of products, and then what suits your foundry probably is your choice of what you're going to do. India, which is the second largest producer of castings in the world, is on the verge of losing because of infrastructure. In terms of exports, imagine if we don't have the highways, the roads and the ports, and I'm sure with the new government in the next 10 years, we are definitely bound to see some good infrastructure growth, and that's going to help. The government should allow exports of castings to avail both FMS and FPS. Now, the funny thing is, the government says either you have a focus market and you will get the incentive, or you have a focus product and you will get an incentive. You have a special product which is not commonly exported and you get that extra benefit, or you are in that FMS, the special markets, and you're selling. But if you are selling a special product in a special market, they will not combine the two incentive. You can take any one of the two, which is a very funny thing. We are fighting on this, and I'm sure we'll get through on that. In spite of the provisions of interest on duty drawback in case of delay in payment, it is not implemented. Well, but this is a very rare case now. In 15 days, duty drawbacks are automatically getting credited in your account. But if there is a delay or a dispute or the government doesn't pay the interest. And of course, everything is on line now. So the customs, the DGFT, which controls all the licensing, and the banks, they are all online. It's so strange that from 1st April this year, somebody went to negotiate the documents in the bank, and they were refused, saying that it's not showing online that you have shipped. And the banks have been told that they cannot negotiate a document unless the shipment appears from the customs portal into the bank portal, showing that this goods have moved. So any bank in India which is registered with Reserve Bank can access that portal and know whether you have actually shipped it or not. That is the kind of tracking that they do now. Well, just to conclude, the future of the casting industry in India is very promising, and tariff is no longer a trade barrier. Various countries are restricting imports by imposing standards and regulations. So those are the type of tariff barriers that exporters are facing, but we are fighting. We are fighting, and many a cases we don't win, but those are barriers which will always be there. We have countervailing duties, we have anti-dumping duties, but those we have to live with, And the best part is, we as Indians know how to fight internationally, even if we have to. We had, like I'm just talking of the simple sanitary castings, which were imposed 90% duty by US on China as well as Indian castings. Well, we hired the lawyers, Chinese had their own lawyers, we had lawyers in Washington fight, we were brought down to de minimis, and we were zero, and China still has 90% duty. So we can fight, and that is collective effort with the government and the Ministry of Commerce. Well, participation in the global value chain is another opportunity for this industry. Market diversification has to be supported with suitable product diversification strategy. That is something very important for the foundries. We are getting into a static mold, a mindset. We have to get out of that. And transaction cost is still a barrier. You go to customs and you want to pass your challan, you try to see how easy it is. Even with all the computerization, they have ways and methods to block and delay things, but we have to live with it. It's an Indian system, but I think with the current government, it's definitely, going to improve. I'll just conclude again with that same gentleman who spoke from the Red Fort, our Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, when he addressed the Americans, when he was refused the visa to travel there. He made it easy to send it through the satellite and send his speech. He said there are 3 things that are required for any leader to come on top. And he said one is the drishti, which is the vision. The other is the disha, which is the direction. And third is the dil, the heart. So foundrymen, we have a vision, we have a direction. Now it's your hearts which have to take us further. Thank you.
That was a very insightful presentation, sir. Thank you so much.